He's one of the most celebrated actors of our generation, indisputably. In fact, he received a big breakthrough through an acting competition called Class Act. It was on SABC 1, and his acting career has grown bigger since. He's certainly no stranger to our screens, an actor who may be in a class of his own. It's S'dumo Mtshali who I'm talking about, and he joins us now in studio to talk about his journey as a thespian. Even the laugh sounds like
the thespian.
It's live from the stage itself. Good morning, thanks for popping by.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
How does one in any way truncate the past, decade that you've had on screen, perhaps even longer as a performer? Because, in fact, my first interaction with your work was when you performed at a school. I can't remember which it was. Wow. And all you had on set at the time was a ladder. It was just a ladder with you. And as he walked in, I thought to myself, how on earth is he going to pull this off? But you had those kids eating out of the palm of your hand with nothing but a ladder. You know, and I wonder what you reckon it is about your own upbringing, perhaps it's the training, that allows you to be so generous on set.
Oh, man, you know, that's a beautiful guy. And you just took me back. That's like years back when I was still working with Ellis Pearson doing theater. Sure. I mean, I guess it's the servitude. I understand that I'm here to serve the audience. I'm here to make an impact, you know, and I really want to cultivate the young black man more than anything else. I always, every project that I take on, I really think about that, and I really want to translate the message of hope constantly to the young black boy. Yeah.
There are a few people in this country who I think love acting and love talking about acting as much as you do. You know, I think there's a bit of an embodiment of what you do that takes it beyond it just being a career. You know, it almost feels like a spiritual interaction. But let me not put words in your mouth. Where did it start for you?
Man, it started so young. You know, when you sit at home and you watch TV, especially back in the days, you watch... my dad used to collect a lot of DVDs. And... sorry, not DVDs, but amakasette.
Oh,
you know, further back. You know, we had like tons of amakassettes back home. And I used to watch my parents more than I would watch the screen. You know, and I watch how they reacted to certain things that certain actors or themes that are happening within the movie or a series. And I found that fascinating how they respond. You know how your parents, especially our black parents, when they watch something, they oh, so much, hey, oh, hey. And I was like, okay, cool, there's something happening here. And then there's a film, specifically Lean on Me by Morgan Freeman, that really propelled my dad to become a principal. Because the film itself was about a teacher coming in to be a principal in a school that was run down by drugs and gangs and teenage pregnancy. So my dad, he felt that he needed to do something with his life. So I understood now then the power of storytelling, what it can do. So it's films like that. And then, of course, as you're growing up, certain films, I mean, I watch a lot of Jackie Chan. That's why I love action film as well. But there's always a message that even the Asian films that they do, which is about culture and understanding loyalty and understanding who you are as an individual. So I always try to push that. Even with each project that I've done, even coming into Spire, coming into Istunzi, all these other productions I've done, there's always a message that I want to speak to, especially to a young black boy. It is so important. And we're losing a lot of them right now, especially with drugs and more than anything else. Suicide, the suicide rate has increased. So even with the Number, shooting Number Josie Gold that's on Netflix, my character is really riding through the idea of taking his own life and just ending it all and just giving up. So I'm constantly pushing that message just for the young man who's watching, who's probably going through something. Just hold on, just for one more day, just hold on. Because my character is going through that.
Right.
He's trying to make an impact.
And we know how important it is for us to see each other on screen, right? And I'm sure you have your own experiences where there's somebody or something that you've seen and you thought, I want to do that. Or, gosh, that's really given me that extra push to get through this.
There's been many. From even, you know, people that know my name, S'dumo, you know, even S'dumo Mtshali, you know, it was a big influence in my life, even though I hated the name when I was growing up.
Right.
But as years went by, I started understanding and actually loving the name. People like Usiyabonga Twala, people like Udomlangeni, watching them on Uhlala. So those productions made an impact to me. And funny enough, then years later, I get to work with them. I get to manifest it, and it happens. And they still, which is beautiful when you meet them, they also pushing the same message. So I've been very fortunate in working with people who really understand the power of storytelling and what it does, and the impact that it does. Because we're only here just to propel.
Right. Yeah. You know, I've heard before, and maybe you agree with the sentiment, that the best actors are the best observers.
Yes.
You know, those are people,
absolutely.
and in fact, you've just spoken to us about how instead of watching the TV, you're watching your parents respond to the TV.
Yes.
And hopefully when you pay a news anchor one day, you're taking some good notes. But I mean, how important is that, you know? Is this something you have to tap into, or do you find yourself just observing humanity and therefore able to display humanity back to itself as well as you do?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, you almost have to have sort of an empathy. I always say an artist that has empathy is the strongest artist, because he's willing to put themselves in issues. Let's take an example. You have to play a role of best. For an example, you can't just judge him immediately. There's a reason why he's where he is. I'm not speaking for him, but I'm just saying.
Careful.
You know what I mean? So you got to look at those things as an artist and really have an understanding first of humanity and what it is that you're trying to say. It's not just about, you know, most people ask the question like, oh, what kind of role haven't you played? What kind of role? I never look at that. I always look at, what do I want to say? It's so much more important, and then it allows you now to start observing life, not just on the level of character or the personality of the. Now you're understanding life, and you want to say something to the audience rather than just, oh man, I'm here to do my lines, I'm here to act a certain way because I'm trying to show this new character. But what do you really want to say to our people? Because we're going through a lot as a country, as the world. You know, so it's good to observe such things.
Absolutely. And I suppose that kind of informs your approach to these different characters, because S'dumo on Isibaya is very different to your character on Inamba. I mean, the setting itself, perhaps even their value system, etc., etc. Who ultimately makes the decisions of the interpretation of those characters in the moment, you know?
Oof, I mean, to have worked in projects like that, especially S'baya, which with Bomb Production, salute to Bomb, I was given the license to create this character. I mean, you're given the brief of sort of character is and everything else, but you also you have to do your homework. You need to come in and say, okay, this character wasn't seeing that and this and that, and then also, I mean, sometimes the character comes with you. You know, I always say, you know, sometimes I act from up course as well. That you have to trust yourself. You have to trust your instinct. You have to trust Amahlos to give you, to guide you in any way. Whoever you believe in, you know, that's just me. Whoever you believe in, and they will guide you in trying to translate the message. Because that's what the beauty of S'dumo on Isibaya is, that he's a young man that's caught up between culture and westernization. And how it is to be a man at that age. And then what's beautiful is that the audience got to grow up with him for 8 years, watch him get married, watch him to even see him at his lowest point in life. And that's the power of television, because you're in people's homes here. And they've given their time and they've welcomed you in. We must just never forget that sometimes. Sometimes we forget it because we get caught up in so many other shows and everything. But you must never forget that you're in people's homes and you've been invited. And that is in itself, that's a gift. You know? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed at all.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why in some instances, because of the intensity of that responsibility, the relationships sometimes exceed beyond what's taking place on screen.
Yes.
I'm reminded, for instance, of the friendship you've developed with some of the people that we know who are in the industry, especially around your time with Tempi Pushers.
Yes.
You know, I'm not sure what came first, the friendship or the show, but I think people started paying attention to you, to Palace, and the late Akumzechezi.
Yes.
How important is it to hold space outside of the work with people who are part of the work?
That's a very good question, because you know this industry it's rough. It's really, really tough. To answer a part of your question, what came first, the friendship or the work? It somehow gelled together. I think also the respect for each other, because I was in the first class act, Amstel class act, the competition, and then Palance was in the second one, and then of course came Tepi Pushes afterwards. So he already had a respect for me, and I had a respect for him. So the friendship started there from respect first, and then the rest was history. And then of course the late Akumzi, who's probably one of the most giving people that I've ever met. Yeah. You never think you'd meet people like that in Joburg, because Joburg has a title of now. It's it's a rough city.
Concrete jungle.
Concrete jungle. You know, Pelis in Yolendo. So and to have him who welcomed me into his family and and it just created a bond, a forever bond. And how important that is. It's very important. It's very important, because we are alone here in this city. Most of us are. And to have people that, not just colleagues, but people who actually love you and see you, that's something else. Because I love those brothers. Those were my brothers. Those are still my brothers till this day. Palance is still one of my strongest and most closest friend till this day, because I still go to him whenever there's a problem. I still go to him whenever I need assistance in anything. And that's important, and I treasure that. Not many people have that.
Right, yeah. And I suppose it comes as no surprise that you guys have come together for Actor Spaces, which, by the way, I think is a brilliant platform.
Thank you.
I don't know you're behind it. But really, kudos, it's a space that just honors people for the great work they do. Because acting, perhaps like journalism, can be very unforgiving.
Yes.
And it can, you constantly have to give to it.
Yeah.
So to have that kind of space where there are peers in the space who are deciding, let's fill these people's cups who empty it so much in the work that they do. What's been the response, especially from your peers?
Most of them, it's, when am I getting a feature?
That is my next question.
And I mean, I've sort of taken it because now Actor Spaces has grown so much, and I mean, what has been great, we've been even able to do even a festival, the Ari Festival, so that we've been part of doing that and creating that, because it's really, as you're saying, it's really about honoring the people who came before us. So it's always been about them, because we wouldn't be this far, and also having a mindset that this acting thing isn't just ngifage. A lot of people also, it's really not about that. This craft is so difficult, it's so spiritual, it's a journey that does not end. There's people that I meet till this day who've been acting longer than me, who are 80, 50, whatever age, and they continue, they're still working at the same pace they were working when they're still 25.
Yeah.
It's just that now the age has come in, but they craft and they detail to their work has evolved, and it's so beautiful to watch. So it's really about honoring her, and one of the most beautiful moments was honoring Mtshali before she passed. Yeah. So just to have done that whole honorary dinner for her, where we invited so many people that honor her and love her, that in itself just broke me and lifted me at the same time. So I want us to do more of that. We need to do more of that as just black people in general, just to honor each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing that fuels your own ambition in some instances, where you're able to give people their flowers, especially if they will deserve
and they're still alive.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the main thing. Tell them while they're still here. It's pointless for me to tell somebody to say how great they were. I think that's just a waste of time.
Absolutely.
Because they're not hearing it.
Look, it's going to be a big part of your legacy. Take it from me.
Thank you.
Number.
Yes.
It comes from a film, actually. Many people perhaps might not know. A very wildly acclaimed film, but it's now been turned into a series on Netflix.
Well, it's the first one, which was beautiful. I always call it the hood classic, because it belongs to the people. We made it for the people because I was put by them in that position. And then so in number Josie Gold is we can call it a reboot of that one, because now we've taken it up a scale, and we can't just look at ourselves as just South African actors. Now we're international actors. We want to see ourselves on that platform, and there's a lot of things that still need to be fixed. Definitely, I mean, if you look at overseas, that's happening right now with Saga, with what's happening with the rights and everything else. It's things that we still need to work on in this country as well. And I'm hoping Netflix comes on board on that, because many have sort of shunned the writers and actors and artists in general. I'm hoping that Netflix doesn't become part of that clique that's here just to take.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're listening.
They better be, because I am wearing you right now, so you better be listening, Netflix.
Look, the word gets been said loud and clear. But, you know, I'm sure 10 years ago, if we were to ask you what you would have liked to change about this industry, part of what a lot of actors have had to say is, we need more of our own stories. And not just that, but at a good quality.
Yes.
Are we there? I mean, as I ask this question, I'm thinking of what the guys at Shagailembe have been able to do, which I'm sure you're watching very closely.
Yes.
Have we reached that sweet spot where it's our stories, we're owning them, and they're at an international quality level?
I believe so. I mean, there's still more room to go, which is great. You know, it's broadened us up to actually being able to now say, okay, now we're watching what the world is doing. Now the world is watching us, you know. And you got to be proud of this project, but it takes money to make money, right? And it takes money to do such grand work. I mean, not just Ushagalem, which is so beautiful. There's also Blood Psalms. There's also
which you were part of.
Which I was part of it. And it's these steps. We're taking small steps to getting to that Hollywood status that people know, and we've just been jammed with since we were young. So yes, I believe we are at that scale now. I think now it's time for the world and everybody else to come on board and actually see that what Africa has in store. You know? And Africans to be proud of themselves. You know, we're still learning. We're gonna get there. You know, especially when it comes to like. Special effects and special animals, we get in there. It takes time. It doesn't happen in a day.
Yeah.
But I was praying that bridge between South Africa and the international really gets established, so that we can start really working cohesively and fairly, which is more important, because we can't have these big stars that come here and then they play our roles, and then at the same time, we the one who are supporting them. Yeah. But when they ask us, is it fair though? Are we getting paid the same? We need to fix those things.
Absolutely.
Those things need to be fixed.
Look, S'dumo, whether it's you being on a stage with just a ladder, on Tempe Pushers, Blood Psalms, Namba, Rhythm City, Tempe Pushers, Saints and Sinners, you name it, there is this beautiful golden thread of just this unmatched commitment to your work. So
thank you.
Thank you for being committed to our discussion this morning. And may your star keep rising. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I received that. And may you grow as well. May you grow. May your idea of really touching black kids continue, even on this station, News Africa. I hope that really transcends and really goes out to, because we're listening and we're watching.
Right.
And it's important that, and we need to always be accountable for what we say.
Absolutely. Yeah. Isibusiso, from a man who played Isibusiso. S'dumo Mtshali, thanks for coming through.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
There you have it. Widely acclaimed actor S'dumo Mtshali, who's done so much and I have no doubt still has so many more to do.